Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. When I was living in the ashram, it was clear to me that living in an ashram is a hyper-controlled environment. Same schedule, same people, same food. What was also clear to me is that feeling divinity has to be in all environments, not just the hyper-controlled, but the uncontrolled also. And so, 7 years ago, we commenced our Running from the Mind community. That is to feel divinity while exerting physically, hiking, jogging, etc. Whenever we come across sports, athleticism, I find we associate this with comparing. This team is better than that team. This person is faster than that person. I had recently shared with our community in our monthly check-in to disassociate athleticism with comparing and to associate this with dharma. That this is your responsibility when one exerts to be healthy. Again, hiking, jogging, whatever it may be, what they're doing, and I'm about to go to a track to run 8 kilometers, what they're doing is being responsible to their body. The body relaxes, responsible to their breath. They enjoy breathing, responsible to their mind. You chant with the mind, responsible to your intellect, to inquire with the intellect. For those who are practicing contemplation, this is the same sadhana or discipline. We have 109 seekers in our Running from the Mind community. I hope we will reach 120 soon. If you're resonating with my message about feeling divinity in an uncontrolled environment, this is a fine community to be in. Bhagavad Gita's chapter 13 has the theme of differentiate. This differentiation means you have to let go. You have to differentiate away that which is not divine. What is the point of differentiation if you do nothing with it? Now, differentiation is facilitated by purification. Just like with water, the more pure water is, the more clearly you can see the water and your reflection. The more pure your personality is, who you are. This differentiation between the lower and the higher will be clear, and you will confidently let go of the lower. In this chapter, the questions, the answers, Shri Krishna has shared that Prakriti expresses as the kshetra. That's like a macro field limitation expression. The kshetra expresses as the body. That's the micro field manifestation expression. So Prakriti in a macro sense is the kshetra, in the micro sense is the body. The Purusha in a macro sense is the kshetrajna. Now please note here, the kshetrajna, which I'm describing to you right now, is the lower one. A higher one is about to be described. In a micro sense, the Purusha is the ego. The implication of Shri Krishna explaining what Prakriti and Purusha are is that there's more than Prakriti. There's also more than Purusha. This will become more clear in the verse we're about to study. But now the last line of verse 21 is very strong in sharing why we don't differentiate. And the reason for that is Sangha, it is attachment. We're attached to the lower. We're stuck in that which is not more. So even if we do know there's more than Prakriti and Purusha, we just keep it in our intellect. That's enough. If Sangha, then Janma. Please reflect on that a lot. If you're attached to an article being circumstance, you will be reborn, continuing to be attached to that article being circumstance. So if you practice the application I encourage you to do, which is to visualize your rebirth, if you didn't like that visualization, you have to work hard and smart now to not be attached to any entity. Shared in a different way, the more raga you have, the more susceptible you are to vasanas. The more attached you are, the more all of your experiences leave an impression on you, continue to make you feel small. You already know this. So really what you want to know is, how do I not be attached? Attachment is countered by assessment. All of the secular assessments that you've engaged in your life, your health, your property value, etc., all of this has been objective. If you have a physician who's practicing likes and dislikes with you, change physicians. Correct? How can they help you? This assessment is that all is changing. That you already know too. But what really helps us to internalize all is changing is when you take it to the extreme of death. The articles, circumstances, and beings you are attached to are dying, will die. I'm particularly zooming into the beings. There's some Simpson fans here. They're smiling at me right now. There's one episode in The Simpsons where Bart and Homer are visualizing all of their grandfathers. And now each one died in a different way. One died in a war, one died in an accident. I think about that in regards to me and all I associate with all the time. That I must have been killed by a knife 10 times, a gun 10 times, through heart attacks 5,000 times. I'm just making up these numbers, but you get my point. Shuka recently shared, our younger son Shuka, he just turned 4 last week, and Vyasa's turning 6 next month. He said, I hope Vyasa stays young forever. That way I die before he does. That is a really caring thought. But what moved me about this is that he's thinking about death. It's important for him to think about death. Sheila was telling me the other day, you shouldn't tell people you're old. Then actually old people feel bad And I challenged her on this. Is being old linear? Old is your own reference, your own reflection. I think I'm old because that helps me to be more careful with how I'm living, that my opportunity is becoming more precious. See how we deflect that old is when you're retired, old is when you have more white hair. But then you have someone like Shuka who's thinking about being old too. One more insight before we get into the next verse. Viveka means to differentiate. Try to reflect on nothing belongs to you. This is a way of letting go. Start with your experiences don't belong to you. Shri Krishna has shared this as letting go of the phala, results, fruits. I've been sharing this with you as your resources, your privileges. They don't belong to you. If you practice this, you can go deeper then. Your equipments don't belong to you. Shri Krishna shared that so many times. I am all heads. I am all hands. I am all feet. Shri Krishna has also shared this in the sense of, you are not the doer. Not only does your phala not belong to you, your karma does not belong to you either. If you can practice letting go of your experiences, they don't belong to you, your equipments, they don't belong to you, finally, you will let go of the ego that doesn't belong to you either. That is freedom. See how much you have to apply. And if it's too much, then be ready. Be ready to come back again and again and again. By remembering all that you touch is changing and dying, you will live well. And Pujya Swami Chinmayananda described this as, the Lord continues to teach us directly what that saving knowledge is. Verse 22. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyuktaha dehesmin purusha paraha. Joy. I'm taking part of the third quarter and the fourth quarter first. Cha means and. There is more than Prakriti. There is more than Purusha. That's why and is there. Api, also uktaha, what is described, dehesmin, what is living in the body, is Purusha, that we can already feel as the ego, but now the word paraha is used. Not the lower Purusha, but the higher Purusha. I will just introduce the whole orientation in this verse. Tomorrow we'll get into this more. Just like Shri Krishna has shared, there are two kshetrajñas. First he says, the knower of the field is the ego. Then he says, the knower of the field is me. In the same way, there's two Purushas. The lower one is the ego. The higher one is Shri Krishna, his awareness, his infinity. Why so confusing? Just tell us directly. Because we're not oriented towards this. How many times I've told you you're infinity? Do you feel it? We need to be oriented towards this. We have to be ready for this. And that's why the qualities of a guide are they're relatable, so we can orient ourselves to them, but then they lift us. That's why Sri Krishna is teaching in this brilliant way. Lots to think about this verse. We'll continue. From inspiration to application, your application was to visualize your rebirth. I'd shared with all of the seekers in the highest vocation. We have 129 seekers who are joining us for this. Infinity is the truth. Finitude is a lie. So if you're a truthful person, you were never born. And as soon as that's clear, you won't be born. Your application for this morning is, we've now completed 22 verses. What are you practicing from this chapter? It's a highly reflective chapter. What are you practicing? Please share. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.